Hello, true duelists. It's yugioh Strat's Yu-Gi-Oh! Single Card History, where I'm going to be talking about some of the cards that have impacted Yu-Gi-Oh! Throughout the years, and some of the other ones that just didn't. Today's card, the type of generic support every other monster type only dreams of. It's Red Eye's Darkness Metal Dragon. Red Eye's Darkness Metal Dragon, or REDMD as it's sometimes called because it's Yu-Gi-Oh! And even our shortened names are just long to say, was first released as an ultra rare in 2009 as a Shonen Jump promo card. Its first widespread public release was in the Absolute Power Force Special Edition set in 2010 as one of two super rares you could get from it. It would also get a Peasant Rare printing in the Dragons Collide structure deck and a secret rare print in Legendary Collection 4 Joey's World in 2013. The next notable reprint came in 2020 in Legendary Duelist Season 1 as another Peasant Rare, but this time it came with the new alternate art and, more importantly than that, an errata to its effect. After this, in 2021, Maximum Gold El Dorado would give it a premium gold rare, and Hidden Arsenal Chapter 1 would give it dual terminal normal parallel rare, because why would we call our rarities anything less long-winded and complex? This is Yu-Gi-Oh! Damn it. For time on the ban list, this card was first hit on the September 2012 ban list, going from unlimited to limited, where it would stay for a long time. Just shy of 10 years, in fact, as it would stay limited right up until it got its errata, with it then going back to unlimited in the February 2022 ban list season, where as of this video, it has stayed ever since. A level 10 Dark Attribute Dragon-type monster with 2800 attack and 2400 defense, its original effect reads: you can special summon this card from your hand by banishing one face-up dragon monster you control. You can special summon one dragon monster from your hand, except Red Eye's Darkness Metal Dragon. Crazy. Post-errata, the effect was changed to read: you can special summon this card from your hand by banishing one face-up dragon monster you control. You can only special summon Red Eye's Darkness Metal Dragon once per turn this way. During your main phase, you can special summon one dragon monster from your hand or graveyard, except Red Eye's Darkness Metal Dragon. You can only use this effect of Red Eye's Darkness Metal Dragon once per turn. Slapped some hard once per turns on each effect. Makes sense as an errata. REDM is what I'm going to call it in this video because I like the way that sounds. And someone might get annoyed that I'm not calling it like DMD or something, and that fact's just funny to me. And you know what else is funny to me? How great generic dragon support is, especially this card. On release, it quickly became part of a solid deck known as Disaster Dragon. This deck was essentially just dragon good stuff for its time, playing with powerful dragon cards like Koakai Mirror Dragon and Exploder Dragon to stop plays and clear boards. And REDM was a staple 3 of in this deck. The lack of a once per turn on both of the effects meant it could be abused to make big boards with the greatest of ease, all coupled with the fact that it is itself a 2800 beater. 3 of it is attacking for game directly without any other support, and there's 3 pieces of support it can bust out, so pretty easy to push for game with a few of these on board, I can assure you. This was never the best deck of the format, but it was a fun beatdown deck with a dragon theme, and this is Yu-Gi-Oh! So you know there are plenty of players using it for exactly that. Chaos Dragon would be the deck to abuse this card in a meta sense first from what I can gather, and would be one of the ones that would help it get limited for a decade. A deck that took Dragon Turbo to a whole new level. This is one that could play a pre-errata Future Fusion to immediately dump 5 dragon cards to the graveyard using 5-headed dragon as the designated material. This meant if the player opened a copy of REDM, they had full fodder to revive and beat down with the opponent any dragon of their choice, and if they didn't, they could just send some copies of Eclipse Wyvern 1-3, which could banish a copy of Red Eye's Darkness Metal Dragon from the deck, or Dark Arm Dragon, or any other lighter dark dragon they wished. And once Eclipse Wyvern was banished, the dragon it banished from deck would be added to the hand. And because the deck not only played things like Light Pulsar and Dark Flare Dragon, but also things of Chaos Sorcerer and BLS, it meant that they were all but guaranteed to have something to summon from the hand by banishing cards from the graveyard, which meant access to REDM was never out of the question. REDM and Light Pulsar were an especially annoying duo, since when Light Pulsar is sent from the field to the grave, it can revive a level 5 or higher dark monster in your graveyard, like Red Eye's Darkness Metal, which can also revive a Pulsar for free on your turn. It was like a pseudo-annoying early and shittier version of the Seer Dante loop. It didn't make it less annoying to play against in 2012 though, I can assure you of that from personal experience. The other deck playing this card in 2012 briefly before its inevitable limiting was Hieratic, a deck best known for OTKs, able to swarm the field with dragons if any of the Hieratics were tributed, and spam Seas like Hieratic Dragon King of Atum, which could in turn summon Red Eye's Darkness Metal from the deck to spam out even more dragons. It wasn't quite up to snuff with the likes of Dino Rabbit or Inzektor or Windup or even Chaos Dragon in the meta, but I personally remember a time where my friend would be playing me on Dueling Network, that's network not book, where he would play Hieratic with 3 REDM right before its limiting, and he could almost always use 2 of the REDMs to overlay into Gustav Max and OTK me without fail. I don't believe this was ever legal in the TCG, as Gustav Max wasn't imported until like 2013, but I suffered in those duels, and I'm venting here as part of my own personal therapy. I do also believe that they played a role in the limiting of Red Eye's Darkness Metal Dragon, because this game was still under a unified ban list at that time, and this would have been a problem of sorts in the OCG if I'm not mistaken. Or I've lied to you, we'll never know. I'm not researching it beyond this. By the time 2013 came around, this card was already limited, thank God, but we did get the Dragon Rulers with the release of Tachyon Galaxy, or Elemental Dragons as they were known at the time, but whatever you prefer to call them, they were what they are, dragons. Even though it wasn't as easily tutorable as it had been in Hieratic or Chaos Dragons, this card was absolutely at home when played when Rulers were first dropped. While the deck was at full power, a number of players opted to play Light and Darkness Dragon, as well as Eclipse Wyvern again, which did help make it a little easier to find Red Eye's Darkness Metal. It was right at home in the deck, able to get out any of the Rulers from hand or grave, and even if it had to banish one of them from the field to summon, it could help since all the Rulers banish effects and with them searching another dragon. What a crazy deck. And so yes, the guy that could summon out dragons was decent in the deck of only dragons. Crazy, I know. Even after hitting the baby Rulers, REDM stayed a staple one-of in the deck. As builds like Dragunity Rulers grew in popularity and it was less searchable, it became a bit of a one-of blowout of sorts, but now instead of just spamming Rulers for beatdown or rank 7 shenanigans, it could also revive the likes of Phalanx to offer synchro plays if a Dux had been negated, depending on your board. This would be the case with Rulers as long as they were playable, in all honesty, because even after the Rulers had all been limited to 1, Red Eye's Darkness Metal was a one-of in any Ruler deck at the core. There were a number of variants that the deck would go on to play that all loved this card. An older deck that adapted well with the Rulers at one point would be Hieratic Rulers, still able to make easy rank 6 spams to help get out Rulers from the deck or REDM, and was just as good at pushing for OTKs as it had been back in 2012 for that, core OTK style of choice. Mythic Rulers were another popular build around this time, utilizing the then newer Mythic Earth and Water Dragons. Each was searchable off Redox and Title, and they were more dragons to banish, so they helped make rank 8 plays alongside the strong 7s, and the deck was a solid going first one. Speaking personally, I really enjoyed this build, and it feels like a very early standard modern deck building kind of deck. Synchro 8s and rank 7s and rank 8s make for strong and versatile end boards, and it was proven by the deck's ability to top regionals and even YCSs at the time. After the fall of the Rulers in April 2015, Dragon decks playing REDM became a little more scarce. There was a period where Blue Eyes was a solid meta deck, hilariously enough, and while some players may have opted to play REDM, competitive builds 99 times out of 100 just didn't, and REDM takes a break from the metagame until aroundabouts 2019, when the next Dragon deck rears its head with the release of Guard Dragons, a series of generic Dragon Link monsters, so good that 2 of them are banned to this day because, yeah, cheating out dragons from the main or extra deck is obviously going to be a problem. Early versions of the deck would be the likes of Crusadia Guard Dragon, using Crusadia for easy OTKs going second, and using Guard Dragon Engine as a shenanigan thing to build up solid boards going first. The standard Guard Dragon combo would make LP to summon REDM from the deck, use its effect to revive a dragon, then make Pisty to revive REDM again, use the revive effect yet again, and go off from there for this sort of end board you felt like making. This was a very strong and reliable engine to get out Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Bests, and REDM was a key role in doing just that. This deck would go on to evolve with time, becoming Danger Crusadia Thunder Guard Dragon, because Yu-Gi-Oh! Players peaked with creative deck names in 2016 after giving out PK Fire. This deck was essentially Thunder Dragon's final form in toss format, using Dangers and Crusadia for linked spam and generic shenanigans, Thunders to get out Colossus for obnoxious end boards, and Guard Dragons for even more obnoxious end boards than just Colossus. The epitome of modern Yu-Gi-Oh! It was a 10 to 15 minute long turn to make a big board of negates, and once again REDM was often used as the standard in Guard Dragon plays, the same way it had been in Crusadia Guard Dragon, accessing it once with LP to summon from the deck, to make Pisty to get 2 free summons and further your link plays for free. With the banning of Agripane, however, Guard Dragon packages fell out of favor for some, but not for all. Dragon Link would first come into light in 2019 with the release of Rocket's Structure deck, giving dragons an emergency teleport, as well as a dragon tuner that could summon another card from the deck with Rocket Tracer. This would prove to make for an incredibly resilient combo deck, known for not just strong end boards with negates, but the ability to play through multiple hand traps. The deck continued to abuse LP and Pisty, and REDM was as much a guard dragon as it was a Red Eyes card, even more so, and it would be for years to come. Even after Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon received its Errata, it would still be a staple for Dragon Link in the years to come. And let me tell you, it has been years that have come. From 2019 through to 2023 as I make this video, Dragon Link has been a playable deck, and in every iteration, Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon has been a staple broadly speaking. Because whether it's a 60-card Dragon Link pile or the generic Dragon Good Stuff deck that formed at the start of all of it, the deck remains a solid way to build a board, and one with enough manipulation of its graveyards and ways to play through hand traps that it's been solid for years. Even the recently released Bestials have been adopted into Dragon Link decks. Magnamut searches any dragon after all, including Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, which can banish that Magnamut to summon itself out, and then revive another Bestial with its effects. So, endless shenanigans. Overall, its ability to summon any dragon without a summoning condition has made it great in a number of decks and invaluable in a number of others. I haven't even mentioned the number of decks that can play this in total because I'm not going to mention every dragon archetype that's ever existed. Sorry, Dragon Maid players, but you can be sure, if a deck's playing dragons, this card is never a bad one to include. The abundance of Foolish Burial cards and the cards to summon themselves have made Dragon as a type incredibly versatile for getting materials to make plays, and apparently Dragon Link is just now the eternal never-dying deck. Always solid, always viable in like 99% of formats, and always leaving us questioning, how does this thing refuse to die? Kinda like Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, even after the errata, funny enough. You can hit it, you can change it, but you cannot stop it. One way or another, someone out there is playing dragons. As long as somebody's playing dragons, someone's playing Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. And so that's our look at Yu-Gi-Oh! Single card history, Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. Have I said its name enough? Good God. Stay tuned for our next video, and feel free to suggest some cards to review or what type of video you'd like to see. Don't forget to like, and as always, subscribe to yugioh Strats to impress your smoking Italian wife, and so that you too can be a true duelist.